Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, here on Fast Break for IE Sports Radio, I want to introduce y'all to our main title sponsor, the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players playing to play and host some different outcomes, whether it's playing to get film to try for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on the quest to earn titles to give players second chances since 2017. Wherever you're in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on Twitter at SoCal Warriors, on Instagram, Southern California _Warriors, and on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Now on to the show. What's up, everybody? Davidson Crooks here. Where does Kevin Durant and Kyrie end up? Or do they stay with Brooklyn? All things are dust and settled. Plus, James Harden resigns with the Sixers for less money. What does that mean for the team in its quest to earn a championship showing in the future? We'll discuss that much more here on Fast Break, live on IE Sports Radio, your direct free for all sports, and you're welcome to join us. Join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry I had a brain fart right there, but lots of things to discuss, lots of things to get into. We're still in a stalemate with the Brooklyn Nets looking to find the perfect trade for their two superstars. James Harden resigning the Sixers and them kind of giving the cap flexibility to make their moves and so much more, and summer league action as well. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Another great week. I mean, even though it is, I guess, regular NBA season is done, we still do have NBA Summer League, which has been pretty exciting. We've seen a couple of rookies go out there and show what they capable of, and also we got the off season with these trade possibilities. So they're pretty good, man. Got a couple of things I've been watching, so pretty happy about that.
Well, speaking of trades and stuff like that, let's hop on that topic real quick. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. Now, last Sunday, I think we were up here, D-Log. I thought maybe on July 4th, I thought maybe that the deal would go down. I say it for at least for Kyrie Irving. That didn't happen. So, we're still in a stalemate with, no real news coming out. Unless, somebody goes on ESPN, whatever, say, well, the Lakers and the Nets started talking again, blah, 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 blah. Or, since we're in the middle of summer league right now, that, things may get up and moving with all these execs and all that stuff around each other in Las Vegas. Before we talk on the show, you mentioned that you believe that both of them will stay. with the Nets. Do you foresee that happening in your eyes?
I mean, right now, it's my thing is, there's two things that's going on, right? Let's cover the easier, I guess, in between the two with Kyrie Irving. Easier situation. Kyrie has already let it be known that he wants to go to LA. Now he did opt into his money his last year, which is obvious. Now you're in a situation that many other teams have been into with players that are going to leave, like Anthony Davis and the New Orleans Pelicans. You knew he was going to leave. He wasn't going to come back. It was already kind of clear that Anthony Davis was going to leave. It was a very similar situation with Kyrie Irving. And I'm pretty sure with that, it's a tough thing to swallow that pill. But I feel like with the Kyrie situation, I honestly don't think there's no convincing him to sign the extension unless they go out and win the NBA Finals next year if he comes back. So for me, I think that there's a good chance that they're going to try to find a way to get Kyrie moved. Obviously, you want to go to the Lakers, you want something in return. Now, I did see something. I'm not sure if you've seen it. I don't know how 100% this is. But I did see something about LeBron wants Kyrie to be in LA. I think it was rumors saying that he may not sign an extension with the Lakers if they don't bring in Kyrie. Clearly, at some point, LeBron's going to leave in the next couple of years. Already having plans to play with his son wherever he gets drafted. So, at this point, I think it's best that Brooklyn find a way to move Kyrie. Because right now, he's already put the writing on the wall that he's not willing to come back next year, or he has other plans. So therefore, that needs to be situated probably now, tomorrow. The longer you kick it down the road, I think the harder it would be to trade him. And then you're going to find teams uninterested, more teams uninterested in anyway. Clearly, there's one team that they're trying to battle with. But I think that Kyrie is going to get moved. It would be wise for Sean Marks and that front office to move him. Now, Kevin Durant. We talked about this a little bit before, and we've been hearing so much about it. Brooklyn wants so damn much for Kevin Durant. It just seems like the teams that he can go to is starting to decrease, right? We're just seeing the fact that Brooklyn asked for, I believe, Karl-Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards and four first-round picks.
Yeah.
From Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, for me, to be honest with you, I was thinking that Minnesota traded for Rudy Gobert. They were trying to make a move on, or will consider making a move on Kevin Durant. Using Karl-Anthony Towns as a player that it can be used. But clearly now it seems like Rudy Gobert played for 5, Karl-Anthony Towns at the 4. Now that trade, that's definitely a no for me. Because now you're giving up Anthony Edwards, who's going to be a hell of a player for years to come. And clearly now you have a team that you're trying to build with Karl-Anthony Edwards with Gobert there with those draft picks. So with that being said, if that was something that was shot down, we've already heard that Brooklyn is asking for Devin Booker in the Phoenix trade. They're asking for, I believe, a Bam or Jimmy Butler in a Miami trade. I don't really see too many places that he really can go. I mean, I'd have a shot in the dark on him going to LA, but I don't think he wants to play with LeBron. So, at this point, what teams do you really see him possibly going to? I mean, there's just no teams with that firepower that are willing to give up everything that has the firepower to give Brooklyn. Now, like a similar situation with Kyrie, I believe the longer that this gets kicked down the road, there's a chance that Brooklyn, higher chance that Brooklyn's they're not going to get what they want. But at this point, it seems like, for me, the fact that Kevin Durant requested a trade, me personally, and how I would feel in the front office, I wouldn't want to have somebody there that doesn't want to be there. So for me, uh, I wouldn't take anything, but you're gonna have to ease back on for the player that Kevin Durant is. You're not gonna get what he's worth. You're not gonna get the full worth in sending him, and that's something that Brooklyn Sean Marks has to accept. And once they accept that, now they can look at different trade possibilities, whether it's to Phoenix, Miami, or any other team. So for me, I think it's a chance that possibly Kevin Durant comes back to Brooklyn. And the reason why, I think all the reason why I believe Kevin Durant goes back to Brooklyn and the possibility of where Kyrie goes is because it all points to Sean Marks in that front office. I feel like that front office they need to calm down and understand they're asking for entirely too much for the player that they have. I know what Kevin Durant is. We know he's one of the best players in the NBA. He can do so much. But he didn't really do too much in Brooklyn like that. I mean, if you look at his stats and what he's done historically with OKC and Golden State, yes, he got rings, but he had Clay and Steph Curry and Draymond Green. Got to Brooklyn, got pretty far. I mean, people have argued multiple times that if he didn't have his toe in line against Milwaukee, they would possibly go to the NBA Finals instead of Milwaukee against Phoenix. But that's a what-if situation. Then they go play Boston and get swept. So, for me, I feel like Brooklyn needs to not necessarily take anything, but realize that getting a superstar at the caliber of Kevin Durant is not going to happen. There's not many teams that have that. So, and if they don't, this is the reason why I believe Kevin Durant comes back to Brooklyn. Now, the question is, how does he play? That's the question. How does he play? Does he sit out? Does he give all his all? Those are the things that me personally, as a GM or owner, I wouldn't want to deal with from somebody that has requested a trade. So, but I think that he comes back right now because it just seems like the things that they're asking for, they're just not getting.
I agree with you. Let me start off with Kyrie Irving. There's been photos and stuff like that, video online, especially on Twitter, that Kyrie is at Summer League and whatnot. Very interesting that he sat by Jerry West and Steve Ballmer of the LA Clippers. That was very interesting. Now, granted, Summer League, everybody's there to kick in, whatnot, and see the future stars of the league. But, it's kind of interesting that you sitting by those two guys in the midst of your trade requests. Now, granted, yes, they did sign John Wall and whatnot. The Clippers did. But, doesn't hurt to have a little more depth and a little more star power. And I don't know if the Clippers are in his radar and whatnot, but that'll be a hell of a coup for Jerry West and company to pull that off. Granted, they gave up a lot of assets for the Paul George trade. But, salary-wise, if the Clippers were to move for Kyrie, they got the salary to do it. You probably had to give up Reggie Jackson, Luke Kennard, Marcus Morris in that deal to kind of match up salaries and whatnot. And then maybe throw in, depending on your first round pick, you get that first one you got, you trade that away. Then you may get that working. I don't know. I don't know if the Clippers would do that because those three guys' name, three guys' this name, that's a lot of damn depth right there. So I don't know if they will do that. Where does Kyrie end up? I don't know. I think the Lakers may get the deal done. Like Terry Rodriguez say in the chat, the Lakers need to get their stuff together. True. Very true. But as I always echoed on this show, if the Lakers don't trade Westbrook or anything like that, to me, that won't be the end of the world. And, you know, like we discussed on the show before, D-Lock, if they don't trade Westbrook and they play the season with them, he's going to be gone anyways, regardless. That salary comes off your books in your favor, along with a couple other guys. So you got that cap space there. And Kyrie's so hell-bent to come to L.A., he would outright sign, because the Lakers would have the salary cap to do it. Now we're talking about like a year from now, and things change, so who knows? But you get that money off your books, you keep your first round picks if you don't do any deal at all. I consider that a win for the Lakers. Yes, I know some Laker fans are antsy to kind of get Westbrook out of here, but sometimes, especially in fandom and nowadays, I think a lot of these folks are short-sighted to the bigger picture. Which leads me to Kevin Durant. We discussed before the show about the Kevin Durant trade requests, stuff like that. And I said to you that when Durant got the signing trade to go to Brooklyn, he didn't want to be just traded just for picks. He wanted another superstar kind of traded for him, in which that's the result. We got D'Angelo Russell traded out to San Francisco. And I started to wonder why the Nets haven't got any deals done, in a sense, is that Kevin Durant got these, got the thing, and, the book is there, say, hey, yeah, you can trade for me, make sure you get a superstar in return. Because I won't be traded just for picks. So I'm wondering if that's like a hold up in this, like Brooklyn not trying, Brooklyn, just wanting assets, and then Durant saying, well, yeah, y'all can trade me, but make sure y'all get a superstar in return. And I wonder that's what the hold up is, like you mentioned. Phoenix, they're not going to give up Devin Booker. That's not going to happen. Let's be real. Devin Booker is like a whole 10 years younger than about 10 years younger than Kevin Durant. That's not going to happen. Same thing. Well, you know what, D-Lock? If I was Minnesota, I would trade Karl Anthony Towns for Kevin Durant in a heartbeat. But, the sucky thing is, they gave all their assets away for damn Rudy Gobert.
That's what I was saying. Like, in my mind, I was thinking when they made that, they were willing to, or they were thinking the same thing, but I agree with you there.
So, I understand getting the superstar in return in a sense, if it's like the team's motive to get that superstar back in return. But if it's Durant, doing this again, then Buddy better get ready to start his training camp back in Brooklyn, because if you look around the league, nobody's training that young superstar away. Not Phoenix. Not whoever else. It ain't gonna happen. And the sooner they realize that, I think the sooner they get the trade done.
That's what we are with it too, man. It's for like I said again, it just seems like Brooklyn understand who they have, which rightfully so they do. But now I ain't gonna lie. You're not sending me. You ain't sending me no damn DeAndre Ayton or first round picks on no Kevin Durant. I ain't taking that. I feel like him going to Phoenix is just not gonna happen. I just feel like that wouldn't be a way unless it's a 3-team trade to where you're getting somebody that in return. But okay, you already extended Claxton. T.J. Warren signed. You got Russell Neal. Kyrie looked like it's a possibility to come back, and if not, you still got Seth Curry. So you got your nice few pieces. There's a couple teams that you need to really consider now. You remember a couple years ago they had Karis LeVert there, and even though Karis LeVert has bounced around to a few teams, he's showing a sense of consistency at good play. So I think Karis LeVert is a pretty good player. Now you get him in the package deal. I think that would be, a good player to help out with if you're considering trading Kevin Durant. But to go for Bam can't be traded. You're not going to get Jimmy Butler. Those type of players, they're just not. That would defeat the purpose to send Kevin Durant over there with the opposing team. So for me, I hope that Sean Marks, like I said, that GM gets it. But again, the longer that this delays, they're gonna have to take less because you are at some point. It seems like you're gonna have to trade. And it's gonna be more known that hey, he probably doesn't want to be there, whatever the case may be. And if so, you're gonna put yourself in a situation where you're gonna have to take less than what you really could get for him. I've told you this before. If anything, the team I thought that really had a chance to get him, but doesn't want to play with one of those players is the Lakers. And right now, you're looking at the fact that Anthony Davis, that we know is somewhat injury prone right now. Maybe he needs to got a championship in LA. Cool. You can possibly send him to Brooklyn and get KD and get some draft picks. But for one, the Lakers would have to make that consideration, which I would think, hell yeah, they would. And also, Kevin Durant will have to consider the fact of playing with LeBron. Now, the Clippers won't be bad either, but what are you giving up?
Very good question. Very good question. I mean, DeAndre Ayton is another piece, another person that's still out there, really hasn't signed. Him, Colin Sexton, a couple guys that come to mind. Like big time remaining free agents. The Nets low key signed T.J. Warren for a very minimum deal. I'm not saying I'm surprised he went for that, but if he was going for that, and if his foot injuries are behind him, then Brooklyn got a pretty good steal right there. And which I kind of surprised more contending teams didn't kind of reach out and trying to sign him if it's for like the mid level or the vet minimum. Because hell, the Lakers could have used them. Portland, they trying to retool. If they could got him on a minimum deal, then they should have gobbled him up on that. Who else I'm thinking about? Shoot. I was thinking about this team. Oh, well, the Bulls should have took a swing at him. If you really think about it. Could have used more scoring in the wing and stuff like that. Just thinking out loud. But Brooklyn signing him, low-key smart. And they happen to run it back with Kevin Durant and Kyrie. He's not a bad third option scoring-wise. If he consistently give you about 17, 18 points a game, and then if your guys Kyrie and Kevin give you about 20 plus and whatnot, you're looking pretty good. And then whatever Ben Simmons gives you and whatnot, scoring wise, you're looking pretty good as a team. So to wrap this up, for Kevin Durant, I don't know where things end up at. You know, only way I see him for going for Phoenix is they do the sign trade for DeAndre Ayton. I know you mentioned. I know you just said you wouldn't do that, but if you trying to get back a superstar or whatever, that probably be your best get right there, in my eyes. Because other players you can't really trade for because of league rules and stuff like that. But I think you just kind of looking around, Phoenix may be the best option. Maybe give up. I know they want 4 first round picks, but if I give you Ayton, I'll at least give you 2 back. And then y'all can do that as you will. So I don't know what's going to happen. There really has been no traction as we, sit here and talk on the show.
Yeah.
Summer League's going on right now. A lot of great play and stuff like that. But after the first couple of days, it just a free agency started. Everything kind of went,
It died down.
It died down.
It seemed like that was big news as soon as free agency started, and it just like, do Golden State make a move or like? But now the piece that they could have gotten, I guess they signed him to a rookie max. So it just at this point, it's just like, man, I'm at a point now where I just want to see this move happen. Like, I want to see, because, clearly that's another storyline that we can see how he fits also with the team he goes to, the team that trade in Brooklyn. So, we got to see what happens, man. And then, clearly, now you got the whole Kyrie situation as well. I believe Kupchak, or not Kupchak, Pelinka, supposed to meet with some Brooklyn officials as well. So, we're about to see, man. I mean, it's going to be real interesting to see what happens, but and at this point, it just seems like it's day by day until we hear something. Eventually, it's just going to be like, damn, KD's still on trade block. Oh, okay.
And before we move on to talk about James Harden, I want to shout out to the chat. Shout out to Taryn Rodriguez in the chat. How you doing tonight, sir? And especially, if y'all not following Taryn on Twitter, he's doing a lot of contact going around the high schools around here, around in Southern California, football, basketball, getting a lot of press. These young guys out here. So do check out his Twitter, all the content and video he's giving, interviews to these young kids, get their name out and whatnot. So shout out to Terry Rodriguez, doing his work, to get these kids a great spotlight. Shout out to Mike Pat. How you doing tonight, sir? And Mike was right behind us on tonight's schedule. Justice, how you doing tonight, sir? Football season coming up, sir. I don't know how your Packers going to do this upcoming year, but I'm really interested to see. James Harden, D-Lock, re-signed with Philly. He took back less money for them to make the moves they made with like P.J. Tucker, DeAnthony Milton, and others. Does the moves they have made so far for Philly, does them put them over the hump, say a Milwaukee and Boston and Miami, or you feel like they got to do something else, or kind of hope James Harden reverts back to his old MVP self to get them to that level?
Well, to be honest with you, and I'll look at it again to double check. For one, I think this is one of the very few times that we actually see James Harden, for one, take less money to help out another team. So that shows some type of commitment. Now, the question is, how long does he stay committed? Um, so that's the big thing for me to start it out. Uh, but more importantly, with that, before I talk about any other signings that they've had, I feel like they need James Harden to be the James Harden that we've seen years back. Um, that's something that uh, he's going to be the one to lead the charge. Him and Joel Embiid, those are the guys. I feel like those are the ones that, in a sense, those are the ones that are going to lead the team. Now, they went and signed PJ Tucker, which I believe was a great move. He's going to help on the defensive side. Also, what that does is now you can move to 553. Tyrese Steibel probably could put him on the bench and keep him on the bench. And now you have, you got your 3-and-D guy in PJ Tucker. You got him and B, so they should definitely be a force down low, and then clearly you got your Tobias and James Harden. Now, me honestly, I feel like James Harden can play with the ball in his hand. I feel like Tyrese Maxey needs to be in the running for 6 minutes in the year next year. That's what I believe. You can tell me what you think. I just feel like to start him and to start James Harden, it's kind of, I think it's making it a little harder than it needs to. I think Tyrese Maxey is a hell of a player. I just feel like he can be a player that can make a better impact off the bench. But that also means now you're putting more workload on a James Harden, which is what I believe you need. I mean, at some point we thought James Harden, at one point, James Harden was one of the best players in the league, which I think he still is. It's just that, we don't, it's like now he's playing a little bit more off the ball, not doing as much. Because remember when he was in Houston, we would literally see Russ have the ball for a half, and then James Harden had the ball for a half. So, the differences between this Houston and Philly is Houston didn't have any defense and they didn't have any bigs. That's what Philly has now. So, for me, I think that's the better way to go about it. Now, as far as putting them over the hump, I think that was them making the move that they did. They help, but now you're looking at a year into for Boston, so they know the potential that they have. I think we see Jason Tatum. I think we see Jason Tatum make that leap. So I think that team is going to be pretty solid. When also they went and got Brogdon, which is a hell of a piece. I think that's probably one of the biggest offseason moves if he can stay healthy. So Boston, I think they're going to be Boston. And honestly, I just think Milwaukee is still one of the better teams in the East. With that team that could they have, many people say if they had Chris Middleton, maybe Boston didn't get past Milwaukee. So I think it doesn't put them above those, but it does move them a little bit closer. But again, I think what makes the difference too, and we could see, is you ain't got defenders in Daniel House and PJ Tucker. I feel like James Harden needs to have the ball in his hands. I think if you can do that with him, you're talking about somebody that can be more effective. I think he'll be more in the MVP run as well. You have an MVP candidate in James Harden and Joel Embiid in the same team. So now PJ Tucker is a little bit older, clearly, but him playing defense is still pretty outstanding, and he is making an impact there. So I think for them to be the best team that the Sixers can be, is you need to have a 6-man, or you need to have a player that can run that offense and get you points off the bench. And Philly, when you start Tyrese Maxey and James Harden, you don't have a player off the bench that can consistently do that. So, my opinion, hell, that's like Miami starting Jimmy Butler and starting Tyler Hero, or Jordan Clarkson and Donovan Mitchell starting for Utah. So, for me, I think that they did make a step forward, but find that rotation. let James Harden be James Harden. Let him get his shots. You got him and Tyrese Maxey on the court with Joel Embiid and Tobias. I don't think that'll work.
To me, it's real. I mean, in today's day and age, I'm kind of surprised that he accepted less money to do that. I mean, $15 million. I mean, especially in today's society, everything going up and all that stuff. Even though, with all the money he has made in his NBA career, to give up that, it's still, amazing in that, okay, he at least recognizes that if we're going to make certain moves, I got to give up a little bit to get us over the hump. And maybe, he recognizes that, hey, we'll probably need like a PJ Tucker when playing against Milwaukee or Miami or Boston. The new makeshift of the Hawks and whatnot, the Bulls. So I think he recognized, like, damn, we're going to need some more soldiers for the fight, down the road. How does all these moves kind of help everybody? It's kind of wait and see. There was video of him and Tyrese Maxey worked out with James Harden, Tyrese Maxey working out with Sam Cassell. A couple days ago. I pulled the video up again. He looking good. As we kind of like seen for him the past year or so, like he kind of had like a little gut in terms of talking about James Harden. But seeing this video with Sam, which let me get this out the way. Sidebar real quick, D-Lock. Sam Cassell has been an assistant coach for a hot minute in the NBA. You mean to tell me, and I know the Hornets interviewed the people that they did, and Atkinson kind of backed out. But you couldn't tell me that Steve Clifford was your best option to fall back on. You know what I'm saying? I was like,
yep.
I'm thinking about it, like, damn, Sam Cassell been an assistant coach for a very long time here in the league. And y'all didn't give him a call. Y'all went back to Steve Clifford. And you get like a Sam Cassell and his tutelage and whatnot to go with Ball. If you get him on that tutelage and kind of curve his success of shooting and stuff like that and shoot the ball more effectively, damn, that boy would be dangerous in the league. And he's already like, what, 6'7", 6'8"? As well. Ooh, boy, I just thinking about that. It's like, damn. Are you really doing LaMelo Ball justice bringing back Clifford back? I'm just saying. But anyways, back to the subject at hand. Seeing that video with them, it kind of, if you're a Sixers fan, it got to give you hope that Harden, after this past year and change and whatnot, is kind of like got all the bullshit, excuse my language, out of his system and kind of like refocus and whatnot and ready to go. Yeah, granted, he and friends hung out in the Hamptons. I don't know if you saw pictures and stuff like that, but they hung out in the Hamptons and stuff like that. But other than that aside, he's working out with his assistant coach, along with one of his teammates. Like you mentioned, should be taking a bigger leap next year. I think things are looking up for the Sixers. I think it just depends If his mindset is ready to go, and Embiid is in good health, and then I throw another third thing right there, like you mentioned about Tobias Harris. He's so, I don't say wishy-washy. He was just like, damn. He's like the third, like he's like the perfect third option if you create one in your mind. But it seems like it always don't go right at certain points. You know what I'm saying? Like you can score and stuff like that, defend and whatnot. And it's just like at the certain moments you just kind of fade away for me.
Just disappear. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really seen Tobias play too much of a defense. I think we're really, like I said, I talked about it throughout the season. We're starting to see, or we did see how Philly looked without Ben Simmons. I mean, they were letting Embiid is a hell of a defender, but he can't play defense at all 5 positions. So we know what the hell James Harden do. So, and that's the reason why they went and got a PJ Tucker. You know, like it's understood that it's hard for somebody to go down, drop some points, and then come back and play defense. And that's the thing that the guys struggle with, which many players do, but he continuously struggled with a lot with them this year. Like I said before, you know, we talked about all year Ben Simmons. I think the thing with Ben Simmons was the fact that when they seen him pass up that dunk, that took, you know, the video, that just took, you know, the fault for everything. But let's not forget, Tobias played terrible that series, both offense and defense. So, and now that Ben Simmons is gone, you're seeing, it's like what we've seen in that series, we're seeing more consistent from Tobias, that Tobias is even a possibility, or a person that was being possibly traded at one point. So, again, hopefully, like I said, I'm with you. I think that they're going to take a step forward. You know, now you're putting less pressure off of Tobias to play defense and come back and score some points because you have a PJ Tucker in there. We've seen PJ Tucker take care of a Kevin Durant in the series before. So you're getting a good defender. Now your best offensive players can play better offense. And I think they should be much better. Just, you know, like I said, for me, man, go ahead and let James Harden run that offense.
I agree with that, man. The pick and roll they could do him and Embiid will be fun to watch if, you know, fully healthy, ready to go, and motivated. And then, like I said, you know, PJ Tucker, you know, and then you have PJ Tucker and Tobias Harris in the corners. Both of them where they shoot their best percentage from in the field, shooting outside like that. And then, you know, I don't know who you start at 2 guard in that sense. I don't know if you go with DeAnthony Melton or, you know, go with Maxey. It'd be really interesting to see. Kind of feel like, you know, granted, getting Melton was a good move, but I kind of wonder if they should have pushed harder for Desmond Bane for that 2 guard spot.
Right.
Because, God dog, that boy is damn near automatic from 3-point line. If you leave him open, that's just draining buckets right there. So,
and that's what they need. They need somebody, like I said, they need to have a player off the bench. If we look at a lot of Philly games, a lot of times they were getting their bench players were getting outscored by, you know, opposing teams. But it's because of that rotation, which is the reason why they went and got a Melton. Now, so if you're gonna have him, you still can have a rotation of different guys. With Tyrese Maxey, Desmond Bane would have been, you know, phenomenal to add. But again, they have to get some. When James Harden or Embiid comes off the court, they need to continuously score some points. Now, we've seen also when that does happen, that's when we see Tobias take over. So hopefully, you know, like I said, you're getting some more defenders. You're getting a little bit more depth on the on your bench. They should play a hell of a lot better coming up. But then again, you know, on our side note, Gallinari did sign with the Celtics, which is a hell of a pickup as well. So you get Gallinari and you get Brogdon. I think the Eastern champs, Eastern Conference champs, just got stronger adding those two pieces.
And I want to add a big if on the Celtics. If Brogdon is healthy, I think, hey, awesome move. But I got to be on his neck before. If you can stay healthy, sir, that's the thing. And like I mentioned, Boston fans were in our Twitter page mentions, it's a good move, man. It's a good move. They ain't going to depend on him that much. You're going to be calm off the bench and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, that may be true. But can he stay healthy? That's all I got. No shade. I mean, no shade against him, but, that's why I kind of didn't want the Lakers trade for him. I'm like, damn. You got Anthony Davis and his issues. Then you don't need to bring another dude in like that as well. I mean, they call Anthony Davis street clothes. I don't know what the hell they're going to call Malcolm Brogdon. But, nah. But, like I said, Brogdon's healthy. Hey, go a long way for him. But that's a bit, that's ifs and buts, though. Real quick, D-Lock, before we get out of here, a couple things to note. With your Orlando Magic and Summer League play, and especially one with Paolo Banchero, how do you feel? I mean, how do you see things going so far with him in Summer League or whatnot? What's your assessment of him so far in the Summer League?
From what I've seen so far, it looks like he's playing like a man on a mission. A lot of people had Forrest Smith going number one, Chet going before him. He got taken higher. Clearly, he's ready to play. I think clearly right now he's NBA ready. I think he consistently stays there. And my thing is, I just hope that moving forward, he can hopefully he can continue to have that. Now, I told you, there's plenty of players that we get that can make that jump, but I think he's going to be very, very good. We just have to build around this guy, and he's looked outstanding right now. I mean, he did have that battle against Jabari Smith, I believe, a couple of days ago. He looked pretty well. He's been very consistent recently. It is a summer league, but you can see where he's being aggressive, and we haven't had that in Orlando in a long time. A very aggressive player that is willing to take over games with the length, So hopefully he continues to bring that. And the surprising thing is he's so young doing it. So I'm definitely appreciative of that. Like I said, hopefully we do right by him. And also, side note, seeing that Mark Weltman was saying, Magic GM was saying something about we're still trying to see what happens with Jonathan Isaac. Still wanting to make sure that he is ready. They're slowly bringing him along, being optimistic that he's ready when the season comes around. So that's something to look into. I told you how I felt about that, but move forward with it. So, but I think Paulo is going to make a difference. Now, what happens is, like I said, we have to continue to want to build around this guy and want to be great with him. But it's also what we do in the front office. You got to want to win. So hopefully we keep that mindset moving forward.
I think he's looked very, very good, so far. I mean, he's looked ready to go and whatnot. Jump shot looking fluid and beautiful. So, time will tell, if it'd be the right pick. But so far, so good, for them. Just hopefully, he come out. Hopefully, none of these guys come out with no injuries or whatnot. Has looked pretty good. Chet Holmgren has looked, as good as I expected. And people kind of, compare apples to oranges on his first two Summer League appearances. I'll say it like this, there's going to be games that he's going to look really good, and then other games, like the Grizzlies, who are got a bunch of Rough Riders. They're going to try to use that against him, his frame and whatnot. So in that second game, he still had 11 rebounds and whatnot. I mean, he didn't shoot. I mean, he shot in that first time in the league game. He shot the ball very well, but secondly, has a little bit of struggles. But it's more what I expect from him, especially in that first game. And what did I say when I did that video before the draft? I said in today's NBA, his size, him being that thin frame and whatnot, ain't gonna be as bad as it seems. Now you dropped him off in the late 90s, early 2000s. You're talking about a different story, yes. But especially in today's NBA, with more finesse and whatnot, more spacing out, more smaller play, he'll be fine. Yeah, Kenny Lofton Jr. kind of trying to take advantage of that, but not to pick on Kenny Lofton Jr., but like how big he is and whatnot, he can't go like that for 30 minutes a game. Unless he got great stamina, he can't go like that 30 minutes a game in an NBA game like that. I'm sorry. And like I said before, how many guys are going to post him up like that in the NBA level? In the NBA. What? Embiid? Giannis? Adebayo? Julius Randle? Ayton? I will say Jokic, but sometimes he plays like a point forward a lot, so he take advantage of that at times like he should. But you get what I'm saying, though, man. It's like seeing the first few games in the NBA, only a couple of players that really take advantage of it, and then him playing that first game against 7-5 Taco Fall, he really abused him in that first game. And you kind of see why Taco Fall really has it stuck in the league as well. So, I think he'd be fine. Chet Holmgren would be fine. Robbie Smith would be fine. One person I kind of worry about right now, D-Lock, because guys like Keegan Murray look good and whatnot. Shaedon Sharpe, before we get out here, has a tear in his shoulder and whatnot. You talking about a kid like we discussed in the draft and on that, and we discussed on our live draft feed. Guy who ain't played ball for a year and a half. First game in competitive play, and he messed up his shoulder. So we'll see what's going on with him. But you talking about Blazers that re-signed Damian Lillard for a 2-year extension. Re-signed Anthony Simons. Re-signed the big man and trade for Jeremiah Grant. I think they kind of expect this kid to be another key to that rotation. But if he's hurt, then I don't know how things are going to shape out for them in the early set of things.
I'm with you with that. I mean, we're gonna have to definitely see how that play out. But it's like I said, that's what makes it interesting. A lot of people usually see the NBA season go by and then think it's a break. Nah, there's a lot of NBA stuff going on, even during the off season, which is what I definitely appreciate over NFL because there's no summer league in the NFL like that. You let them take their months off and they're done. But the thing about basketball is you only get better by staying on the court. So. That's why it was so shocking for Anthony Davis. He hasn't, I think, shot a ball in so long. So, yeah, man, there's a lot of stuff going on, man. I mean, I'm glad it's panning out the way it is.
So we're wrapping up on that note. Thank you for tuning in with us on this great, beautiful Sunday night. D-Lock, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813. That is Black-813. Definitely seeing a lot of what Paulo has been doing. You'll be seeing me do a lot of retweets. I think I just retweeted him being a fadeaway compared to Carmelo Anthony. So you'll be seeing a lot of stuff, but definitely follow me there on Twitter and Instagram. Let them know where they can find you at, man.
You can follow us on Twitter at FastBreak at IESR. That's FastBreak IESR. Also, do follow iSportsRadio.com for all the latest shows, news, and feeds. And you can catch the playback of this show and other shows on our network. The NFL season about to kick off. Well, training camp about to kick off here pretty soon. So, do tune in with us for all your football needs here in the month of July and August. Also, I do know a show on the side called The Crooks Process. I did some episodes talking about Tennessee Titans draft class, Alabama men's basketball season review. And then I worked on 2 episodes talking about Stranger Things and the Vince McMahon saga that continues to kind of be more bad for him. But do follow The Crooks Process on Facebook and Instagram. And do follow me on Twitter at Spawn4288. And we'll be back here next week. Hopefully, some news will happen in that meantime. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, we're out, and we'll talk to y'all later.